So I do have a
Absolutely.
question for Scott, if you still have a minute. Yeah, hey Scott. So I think I ask also for the lots of audience here. So for the startups, when it grows from the A, B, C round, and in order to survive, it has to uh, do lots of projects with other companies or do some kind of small projects. I know that you have to try to fit this project into your main directions. But lots of those directions, those projects was actually a temporary, a short-term project. And when it's come, it's gone. Nothing accumulated in the company knowledge base. So I want to ask Scott about how to balance this stuff about survive. You have to do the projects, do the contract from outside, and in order to grow a bigger company, you have to gain the knowledge base by yourself. You want to grow it bigger. In what how to balance this kind of stuff in the different rounds A, B, C? Thank you, Stock, for your experience.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I see it all the time because early stage entrepreneurs have enough skills to start a company and to offer valuable services, often because what they learned in their previous jobs, right? So they've got this idea, they have expertise, they have connections, they can even sell the service often back to the company that they left, right? Because they know people in the industry, but what they have all that, but they don't have revenue to actually demonstrate to an investor that it's a company, that it will grow, right? So I totally understand what you're saying. I work with, yeah, I get it. The problem, so you have to do what you have to do, right? You have to take those, the industry lingo is non-recurring NRE or NRP, and non-recurring engineering or non-recurring projects. Investors don't like that kind of money, right? Because it's non-recurring, right? And these days we all have the luxury, as Travis and I were just talking about, like cloud-based SaaS businesses that have recurring revenue. So why would I want to invest in a company that has one-off revenues versus one that has repeatable revenues? Even if they're lower, I'd like the repeatable, right? Of course. So the challenge as an entrepreneur is exactly what you're saying too. How do you balance those two? Because you need to make payroll, you need to pay your mortgage, you need to, grow, right? And I think the answer is you just do it and try to learn from that and use the capital that you can get from the short-term projects to grow into a recurring business, because it's the recurring revenues that will generate the valuation that Vinashi was asking me about earlier, right? You need the recurring revenues, at least today, to demonstrate that you are a company that's growing. The other alternative, though, that a lot of people overlook, and this is again kind of the media thing, the media only talks about venture capital backed companies, which means that they're increasingly recurring revenue based and then become really big. The alternative is what we've had for centuries, which is smaller businesses that do one-off business, one-off projects on a recurring basis, but with different clients. And that's more of an agency or a consulting model. And that's a totally legitimate way to build a business and even to get rich. I mean, you're probably not going to go public, on a Facebook sort of level, but there's no shame in having, 6 clients that pay you $300,000 each a year, and you take half of that for yourself and the other half you use for your team. I mean, that's a legit life that was way better than most people have. And that's absolutely a way to go. That's also one of the reasons investors are resistant to investing in a business like that, because if a founder starts something and then they start making a couple million a year, well, why would they want to change that and take all the additional risk of raising capital, hiring more people, expanding, and all the risks that entails? So investors don't like lifestyle businesses, but they can be fine for entrepreneurs. And I think that's what you're talking about, the dichotomy between an agency style or consulting business and then the growth model VC-backed business. And the difficulty as an entrepreneur is figuring out how to thread that needle so that you do some of both, and ideally enough of the consulting to fund the development of the recurring revenue, and then you get the investor money. That's the way I see it anyway.
Oh, I got it. So if I want to summarize it, is that one way is that you accumulate this knowledge into the company knowledge base. The other way is that you try to expand horizontally so that the knowledge was on the human itself, like the experiences, collections, and that kind of value is not sustainable because you cannot invest more resources and grow the same business model to create a bigger pie like that. Thank you,
Yeah,
Scott.
that's good. That's a good way of thinking about it. I like that. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Scott.